Imagine the war in Ukraine ending not because one side wins, but because of a deal so big, so controversial, that it could change borders, shift alliances, and reshape the future of Europe. That deal is 28-point peace plan proposed by the USA, a proposal now putting major pressure on Ukraine. For Russia, President Vladimir Putin says this plan could be the basis for a final peace agreement. For Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky warns, it may be one of the toughest choices the country has ever faced. So, what's actually inside these 28 points? Let's go through them. The first 8 points focus on territory. Crimea would be officially recognized as Russian. Donetsk and Luhansk would also be recognized as Russian-controlled. Ukraine would have to pull back from the sections of Donetsk it still holds. Russia would keep its occupied areas in Kherson and Zaporizhia, and in exchange, Moscow would give up only small pockets of land in Kharkov and Sumy. In simple terms, Russia keeps nearly everything it controls now, plus formal recognition of those gains. Points 9 through 15 change Ukraine's entire security future. Ukraine would become a neutral country, permanently. NATO membership would never be allowed. NATO troops could never be stationed in Ukraine. Ukraine's military would be limited in size and firepower. Long-range missiles would be restricted. Everyone involved in the war would receive amnesty, and a monitoring team would watch over the agreement. Points 16 to 20 lay out what the West would do. If Russia invaded again, Western countries promise a strong, coordinated response, though the details are unclear. Sanctions on Russia would start to lift. Russia would rejoin global trade systems, and eventually, it would return to the G8. Points 21 to 23 deal with Ukraine's internal politics. Ukraine would hold new national elections within 100 days. A unity government is encouraged, and Ukraine would have to legally commit to neutrality. Points 24 to 27 are about rebuilding. $100 billion from frozen Russian assets would go toward reconstruction. Europe would add another $100 billion. Economic cooperation between the US and Russia would slowly restart, and trade restrictions would be removed step by step. And finally, point 28, a joint commission made up of the US, Russia, and Europe would oversee the entire deal and make sure both sides follow it. So what does all of this mean? If Ukraine accepts the plan, Russia would get recognition of its territorial claims, a neutral Ukraine, limits on NATO, relief from sanctions, and a return to international influence. Ukraine, on the other hand, would mainly get an end to the war, along with vague security promises, a path toward EU membership, $200 billion for rebuilding, and the return of only small amounts of land. Zelensky says the country is being forced to choose between its dignity and its relationship with the United States. And with winter approaching, the pressure is only increasing. Is this the peace the world has been waiting for? Or is it a roadmap for Ukraine's surrender? That choice and that debate is now in front of us.